Hello and welcome to Tactile Talk. Today I want to do a brief beginner's guide to mechanical keyboards, but do it from a beginner's perspective. Before we get into the video, I would love for today to be the day that I can earn your subscription, so please click that subscribe button below and I will keep the content coming. So the best and the worst parts about entering the mechanical keyboard world is that there are so many options out there for you to create whatever you want. If you have no idea what you're looking for, I highly recommend you spend some time on YouTube, on channels like this or others out there. Also, the mechanical keyboard Reddit is a great place for information if you can deal with the Reddit comments. Or just Google things that you're curious about, whether it's boards, switches, feel, and start figuring out what you are looking for, what you want to do. And remember that recommendations from people are just that. They are their preference. Ultimately, you are going to have to test out some things to figure out what is right for you. So if you're new to the hobby, you're probably going to hear about group buys a lot. And I highly recommend that you try to find something in stock that you want to get started with, because group buys are really just super advanced pre-orders. The items aren't in production or anything yet, and you are paying for an item you may not receive for a while. So if this is your first keyboard, try to find things that are in stock. If you really want something on group buy or how to find them, you can check out this mechgroupbuys.com and you can get a list of everything there. But you may find that a lot of things you're interested in are actually part of a group buy. This can make it really difficult to get what you want. So take a look around on the second hand if you really want something that was part of a group buy, or check out some sites that have group buy extras and maybe you'll get lucky. Keyboards come in many different sizes and layouts, so it's important that you take a look at your desk space when you're picking a keyboard. I'd say the most common thing that I run into is just the war on numpad versus no numpad, or maybe even you want a separate numpad. But either way, you definitely want to look for a keyboard that's going to fit the space that you have and also have all the keys that you would normally use. Maybe you want a knob. Then it's also important for you to think about the construction of the board you're looking at. Obviously, aluminum boards are going to be more expensive than, say, a plastic one. And all of this should weigh into your decision when you're looking to really pick what you want. If you want to travel, a smaller keyboard is going to be better to bring with you. If you're just looking for a keyboard that can do everything, maybe you want a full size. Maybe you want something ergonomic. So after you've picked out your keyboard itself, you're going to have to pick what switches you want. And the switches are going to be in three main groups: linear, tactile, or clicky. Tactile and clicky, I believe, both have a little bump to them when you're pressing, and linear is just kind of straight through. You'll hear linear talked about a lot, I think, in the gaming community, and tactile maybe a bit more from people who just type. But overall, decision's up to you for which switches you want to put in your keyboard. Assuming that you've gone with a hot swap keyboard, meaning that you can easily replace switches, it's not the end of the world if you want to try some out. And some of these companies even make sample packs for switches. But it's hard to get a real feel for it unless you're using it in a fully complete keyboard. The other important thing with switches is lubed or unlubed. Everyone's going to recommend you lube your switches, but you have to decide if you're willing to pay more for factory lube switches and if you're going to be happy with the quality of the lube work on factory lube switches. So there's a lot to think about. So the final piece of your keyboard that you're going to need is keycaps. And really what it comes down to is you can spend as much as you want on keycaps. ABS keycaps are going to be cheaper. PBT are going to be more expensive. There's really no right or wrong. Get something that you're okay with the price of, and get something that you like the look of. There's plenty of group buy for keycaps. There's plenty of in-stock keycaps, but it all comes down to the preference for you. The one thing I will say is be careful about the prices you see, because what you get is a lot of kits. So you may need a base kit, and maybe the one cap you want is in some sort of specialty kit. So take a look at what you're getting when you're buying keycaps, just so you're not surprised when you open the box and find either too few or too many keycaps. So the final thing to look at is, where do I buy all this stuff? And there's a lot of websites out there that you can use. I have a couple playing in the background here just to show that there's tons of stuff available on places like Canon Keys. You can go to mechanicalkeyboards.com. You can go to Kinetic Labs. You can even go straight to the manufacturer for some of these. Like if you want a Monsgeek keyboard, that's something that I really like and just bought directly from them. And if you're looking for some new vendors, what I found to be pretty helpful is you can go to something like the Group Buy website, Mech Group Buys, and they'll list out vendors based on their region. And you can click in there and then you can browse their site and see if they have anything for you. There are tons of keyboard vendors out there. So take your time to find what you want and do your research, and you should be able to come up with a place that's relatively easy on the shipping costs that can get you whatever you need. And that's a brief introduction to mechanical keyboards for beginners by a beginner. Again, if you like this content, please like and subscribe to the channel. We got lots more reviews coming, and I'll see you in the next one.